form the battery with Ricky Romero.
We are set for action. Sam Full will lead things off against Ricky Romero. Makes a pitch up and in. Fold has had a good series. He's hit 4 for 8 in the series. Average at 365. Romero misses with another fastball.
I'm very impressed with Fold. His ability at the plate to work the pitcher, work the count. His on-base percentage very good, up over 400. Taking those first 2 pitches from Romero.
Made him throw a strike. I like the way Fold chokes up on the bat. His job is to get on base. He's got excellent bat control with that choked up grip. Fouls that one off. 2-2. Sam Fold comes to Tampa Bay from the Chicago Cubs. He was involved in that multiplayer deal that basically sent Matt Garza to Chicago. Got him. Ricky Romero threw a cutter down and away. He's going to get thrown out at first by J.P. Arancibia.
That's a good sign when Romero is throwing his secondary pitches for strikes, expanding the strike zone, and he gets full. Ball looked like it was caught by Arancibia, but they make the play over to first base. Fold has had some success against lefties. Romero made him look bad on that last one.
Johnny Damon with that 12-game hit streak. Swings at the first pitch and pops it out of play. Tampa Bay has been a much better hitting ball club when they swing at the first pitch. They've hit 395 as a team. Well, Damon, utilizing that approach, fouls the first pitch back. Once they get past the first pitch, they drop off dramatically, hitting just 204.
395 to 204. Tells you something right there. This is a very aggressive team. Johnny Damon there is his run right there of 12-game hit streak.
Strike right at the top of the strike zone.
That's the one thing that has surprised me with Damon is the amount of RBIs that he has picked up. 17, 14 of them since April the 11th when they really went on their hot streak.
Right back under the glove of Romero into center field, and there's a 13-game hit streak for Johnny Damon. Damon can thank Sam Fold for those RBIs. Fold has been on base just about every time he comes to the plate.
Certainly has, and he's such a clutch hitter. That one almost got the shoe of Romero as he sends it right back through the middle.
Man on for Ben Zobrist. He was the big culprit in the loss yesterday. He had a 3-run home run off Carlos Villanueva in the 6th. He's been off to a slow start.
Yeah, the average isn't there for Zobrist, hitting under 200, but the production is 4 home runs and now 10 driven in. Here's the home run that you were just talking about off of Villanueva, deep to right field. Second deck home run really broke open the game, and tough to come back against David Price when you give him a 3-run lead late in the game.
Off-speed pitch. Romero's throwing his breaking balls, as you mentioned, his off-speed pitches for strikes early in this first inning. That's always a good sign.
That's such a key. That's one of the things that he didn't have his last time out at Boston when the Red Sox really pounded him. He wasn't able to throw it over for strikes and walked 5 Red Sox.
There's a good changeup. Romero can throw that in his sleep. 1 out here in the first inning. Ricky Romero ahead of Ben Zobrist, 0-2. Pulled to left field. This ball is hit a mile, and it's going to be a 2-run home run for Zobrist. Ricky Romero tried to get the ball inside, and Zobrist was all over it. Johnny Damon had a 2-run home run in the first in yesterday's game.
That got him off to a good start. His third home run given up by Damon this year. Zobrist drove in 13 runs in 18 games last year against Toronto, and he's doing it again. 3-run homer yesterday in the cutter that didn't cut as he gets the barrel of the bat to the ball. Skies it over the bullpen in left field for a quick 2-0 lead.
Dan Johnson, the first baseman. Casey Kochman played first in yesterday's game. There's a strike.
Well, this is the guy they want to get going right here. Dan Johnson. Look at the average, 121, home run and 3 RBIs. Last year, he had a home run 1 every 15 at bats.
He jumps on that Romero pitch and singles into center. After the leadoff strikeout, single, home run, single. Now Aaron Seavey quickly out for a short chat. And now it'll be B.J. Upton. Upton had a couple of hits in yesterday's game. He also struck out twice. Fastball inside. B.J. Upton hitting just .229 for the season. He's got a lot of moving parts to his swing, and timing is an issue.
The only thing they want him to do with that leg kick that he has, he picks up his heels, just started a little bit earlier. You can see him a lot of times when that timing isn't down, he's fouling the ball over to the first base side. But when he gets it down, he's very quick with his hands. Got very quick bat speed. Ball really jumps off of his bat. Trying to get him to drive the ball just a little bit more. Get the foot down and swing hard.
3-0. Tom Foley going through the signs. I wouldn't be surprised if they give up the green light. Nope, he was taking all the way. 3-1. One out here in the first. The Rays have jumped up early. A 2-run home run by Ben Zobrist. To the left side, John McDonald. Wide throw at second. Off the glove of Lind, and Upton will go to second. Mike McCoy. The timing was disrupted because McDonald bobbled that ball a bit before he made the throw. And that caught Mike McCoy off stride.
The throw wasn't really on time. You want to get that momentum going to second base. You see if McDonald has trouble getting the ball out of his glove, and McCoy wants the ball as his momentum is towards first base, but it was on the outside part of second base. That messed it up a little bit, and then Lind does not get the ball. An error has been charged.
And gave the air to Adam Lind, first baseman. He got a glove on him, but in his effort to stretch and complete the double play, ball went right off the end of his glove. So Upton's at second with 2 down. Bruce Walton out for a short visit with Ricky Romero. 3 hits in the inning, including the home run. Just when we were talking about 3 good starts in this homestand with Reyes on Friday and then Morrow, Ricky Romero's having trouble here in the first.
Just needs to finish off his pitches a little bit better right now. Moving towards home plate and follow through. It's like he's cutting his pitches off. By that I mean he's not extending through towards home plate. It's almost like a hitter who cuts his swing off. You just can't generate any bat speed. Same way with a pitcher. You need to follow through and finish it off.
Felipe Lopez with the count in his favor, 2-0. Upton at second. Lopez bounces at third. Big bounce for John McDonald, and he tags Upton. Don't see that very often, but Blau said, you know what, my chance to throw across the diamond. Ricky Romero gives up 2 in the first. He strands a base runner. It's Easter Sunday. Fans at Rogers Center enjoying some concessions as they get set to sit down and enjoy a ball game. John Farrell has made some adjustments to the lineup. He's flip-flopped Yunel Escobar and Corey Patterson top of the order. Figures that maybe Escobar will get his stroke back, not thinking so much about getting on base and just trying to move the base runner if Patterson should get aboard. Nobody's hotter in baseball than Jose Bautista in the third hole. Juan Rivera is the fifth hitter today. He's starting to swing the bat a little better. Aaron Sevilla, Snyder, McDonald, and McCoy round out the Blue Jays lineup.
That's the lineup that 29-year-old James Shields will face. Senior member of the Rays rotation. Makes his fifth start of the season. His last start became the first Ray to pass 1,000 innings for this organization. And his last start was a good one. Sixth complete game of his career, beating John Danks 2-1.
Gave up just 4 hits and struck out 9. Corey Patterson hits it right to the first baseman. He's retired. So Escobar will face James Shields. You see his numbers for the season. He's a strike throwing machine, just 6 walks. And the whip is good at this point.
His last start that we were just talking about against Chicago was outstanding. Used his fastball to set up his good changeup. You're right, he is a machine. Just be ready to swing it. That win snapped a string of 9 consecutive winless starts for Shields. Hard to believe.
Yeah, he had a rough season a year ago. He led the majors in allowing 127 runs. Good life on that fastball. He has really rededicated himself in the offseason trying to get back to the stature of Big Game James. It's his nickname in Tampa Bay's clubhouse, and he's always had the ability to ratchet it up a notch.
13 wins last year, but 15 losses and an ERA over 5. That is not the kind of stuff that he has.
Bouncing ball. Brignac throws out Escobar. 2 quick outs here in the first. They mentioned Jose Bautista has reached base 10 straight times, and look what he has done since September 7th of 09. He leads the majors with 71 home runs, but look at who's second and how far behind they are.
Yeah, leading the major leagues doesn't surprise me from what he has done, but by how many he is leading by and who he is beating out. Pujols and Cabrera are generally regarded as the best hitters in baseball. Power and average. He's just blown by those guys.
19 homers more than Pujols and 22 more than Cabrera. Big numbers. 371 average. He only hit 4 home runs in the month of April a year ago. And that's been the big question all during the offseason into the early part of this season. Can Jose Bautista repeat what he did a year ago?
Well, it's a long year. And 1 month doesn't just make a season, but you watch his approach at the plate. Watch how hard he works away from the field. And there's no doubt that he's going to put up big, huge numbers.
Well, I mentioned it. James Shields is prone to giving up home runs, so he didn't want anything to do with Jose Bautista. Now he'll face Lind with a man aboard. Lind's had good numbers and good production against Shields. He has 5 home runs against the Rays right-hander.
You know, you mentioned the home runs that Shields gave up last year. He gave up 34 home runs. Gave up a lot of base hits also. Threw 200 innings again in his career, but he gave up 246 base hits. That's just too many runners on base. And then you throw in the home runs, you can see why his earned run average zoomed past 5 last year.
Ball on the strike to Lind. Well, the one thing that he had been able to do prior to last year was he would give up home runs, but he didn't walk as many and didn't give up that many hits for sure. So the home runs weren't a problem. But last year, with this command suffering, when he did give up the home runs, more often than not, they were multi-run homers.
And when were the home runs?
Way off the plate.
You know that better than anybody. Catfish Hunter gave up a ton of home runs, but he might have been winning 9-1 and just saying, here's the fastball and solo home run in the 8th.
Yeah, the Catfish Hunter example is a good one because he always manages scoreboard very effectively. Kind of like Bert Blyleven as well. Always near the top in home runs allowed. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs here in the first. Blue Jays trail 2-0. Driven to left field, pulled over near the line, near the wall, and out of his reach.
But not without an effort by Super Sam in left field. He is showing base running ability. He's showing his ability with the bat and with the glove and arm. How about this for effort on a Sunday? Let me go into the stands and just miss it. What an effort.
Cole taking full advantage of this great opportunity to play every day. 2-2 to Lind. Down and in. It'll be a full count. Juan Rivera, the DH, stands on deck. Rivera had his first RBI of the season in the 9th inning of yesterday's game. Bautista will be on the move. Cut on and missed. Lind goes down on strikes. James Shields strands a base runner after issuing the 2-out walk to Jose Bautista. But Tampa Bay has taken a 2-0 lead just like they did yesterday. A 2-run homer in the first. Today it's Ben Zobrist. Ricky Romero. Sean Rodriguez will lead things off in the second inning. Ricky Romero throws a first pitch strike. Rodriguez 0 for 5. He scored a run in the series. He drills this to right. Bautista on the run at the track, off the wall. Sean Rodriguez will end up with a leadoff double here in the second.
Showing some power the other way. Rodriguez probably loves playing against the Blue Jays. His big numbers have come against the Blue Jays in his young career. This ball is hit hard. They wanted to go inside. It's on the outer half, and he stayed right on it. Watch the play by Bautista. He gets back, realizes he's not going to catch it, but then he's got very quick hands and a very strong and accurate arm. Gets it back in quickly. Rodriguez had to hustle out of that bag to get that third double of the season.
Great example of how Ricky Romero has missed his spots here early in the game. Kelly Shopik goes after the first pitch. It's a trend we talked about last inning, how Tampa Bay very aggressive and very successful when they swing at the first pitch. But Romero missed all the way across the plate, was trying to come inside, and the ball was down and away.
Rodriguez likes the ball away where he can play with it, hit it the other way, or try and pull it, hit it right back through the middle. More hits this year to right field than any field for Sean Rodriguez.
Ball and a strike to the Rays catcher. Shopik started the game on Friday night. That was against Jojo Reyes.
He's got some power too.
Pulls it to third. McDonald knocks it down, rights himself, and has time to get Shopik. One out.
This afternoon's scouting report is brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. Ricky Romero, the ace of the Blue Jays, will take the mound, and some of the pointers that he needs to remind himself, stay back. When he stays back over that rubber, he really gathers himself and work on a downward plane. Secondary strikes, I think, are going to be so important for Romero because this is a good Tampa Bay hitting team, and they need some runs. Blue Jays have only been able to get 4 runs for him over his last 3 outings.
And pitchers don't necessarily pay attention to it, but subtly, I'm sure he thinks he's got to be perfect. And that's what's robbed him of his command.
And that's not a very good way to go out there trying to be perfect.
Reid Brignac, the shortstop. 2-0. You see Ricky patting his left leg as if to suggest he's not driving properly off that rubber.
And that's what we mean by we say stay back over that rubber. Your timing can get all mixed up. Your lower half starts going before your arm can catch up. Just little things that Bruce Walton will point out to him.
Brignac breaks his bat and flies out to right. So Rodriguez led off the inning with the double. He's still at second. Go back to the top of the order. Romero will have won the battle if he can leave Rodriguez at second. Cole was a strikeout victim his first time up.
He took the first 2 pitches. He took the first 3 pitches he saw in his first at bat. And he looked like he was ready to unload if it was close.
Off the plate inside. We have seen Fold use the whole field in this series. And it appears that he's a little better up than down. Down is the same spot right there that he struck out on.
Down and throw some off-speed pitches. When young players come up, pitchers will test them right away. Can they hit the fastball? Well, I think he has proven that he can hit the fastball. He's got 2 4-hit games already this year.
Batting on his hands. A ball and 2 strikes. One thing that Bruce Walton always encourages his pitchers is just stay in the moment. Forget about that leadoff double. And Romero has done a good job of that to this point. 1-2. Breaking ball missed down and away. If you think about a leadoff double and say, well, I just have to be perfect and leave him right there, oftentimes you'll make a mistake, but he was just taking it literally one bat at a time, and he's a strike away from getting out of it.
So far, the big at bat in this inning was Shopik not being able to advance the runner. Rays do a really good job of manufacturing runs.
Their insurance run in the 7th came without the benefit of a hit yesterday. Full count, 2 outs. Rodriguez at second. Fouled it off. Romero threw him a pretty good changeup, and he got a piece of it. Johnny Damon, another left-handed hitter, is on deck, and Damon has already extended his hit streak to 13 games. Another full count pitch. Strike 3 call. Ricky Romero paints the outside corner, and Sam Fuld goes down for a second time. Romero gives up the leadoff double, but strands Rodriguez at second.
Let's take a look at the scouting report. He's a hard worker. He's always in great shape. He's had 4 straight years of at least 200 innings pitched, and you've got to have great stamina, and you've got to be a hard worker to be able to do that. He's got lots of options: fastball, slider, curve, change. He's got a great changeup, and I think James Shields, when he's using both sides of the plate, he can be very dangerous. It's almost like adding pitches when you can throw fastball to both sides of the plate and all the off-speed stuff. So he's got a lot of weapons this afternoon.
Juan Rivera starting to swing the bat a little better, and that's why John Farrell has bumped him up in the lineup. Farrell before the game said he just wants to see if he can't build on this momentum. Swings and rips it right to the shortstop. That's another good swing by Rivera.
Well, he's swinging early in the count too. First pitch he sees, his swing just looks, the timing just looks a little bit better. Fastball, he just picks up that front leg and drives through the ball.
Got the ball way out in front of home plate, and that's what they talk about when they use the phrase "get the head out." He was right on that fastball. J.P. Arancibia, the catcher, drills it to center, but it's a high fly ball. B.J. Upton makes the catch. 2 quick outs here in the second.
Travis Snyder is going to be the sacrificial lamb here.
And the Blue Jays will go out on a 10-game road trip and then return May 6th Through the ninth, take on the Tigers. The Red Sox will be right behind them. A short 2-game series. For tickets, call 416-341-1234. BogAndBlueJays.com, or you can stop by most Rogers Plus locations.
He has to take a pitch. The first two batters swung at the first pitch they saw made outs. Now, you knew Travis Snyder was not going to go up there. James Shields knows it also, and he just plants one right in there.
There's that breaking ball, boy. You can certainly see the use of advanced scouting. Whenever you have a right-handed pitcher that's got a good curveball, they've really given Travis Snyder a steady diet of that down and in breaking ball.
Right-handers. A.J. Burnett come to mind.
Josh Beckett.
Josh Beckett comes to mind. Felix Hernandez in Seattle, we saw the same thing.
Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Yes.
A lot of down and in breaking balls. Another changeup. Shields got a good one. I would put Shields' changeup right there with Ricky Romero's, the way he throws it and how frequently he uses it.
Not afraid to use it 3-2 or any count.
Fastball on the corner. What a good inning for James Shields. Just 7 pitches. The Blue Jays go down in order. He's got his command, he's got his off-speed pitches, and he finds the outside corner against Travis Snyder. Tampa Bay leads 2-0 after 2. In the third inning, Damon has already extended his hit streak to 13 games. Had a single in the first.
You know what I love about Johnny Damon? Durability. Plays every year. He's played on a few different teams now. But 15 straight years of at least 140 games, which is pretty impressive.
Up the middle, Mike McCoy not in time to get Damon. McCoy made a couple of plays just like that yesterday, but Damon runs too well, and he now has 2 hits in the game already.
It's almost like he is running out of the batter's box when he is swinging at it, a la Ichiro Suzuki of Seattle. He comes out of that box quickly. Same exact kind of play. But Johnny Damon is running. Watch how he gets out of the box. It's almost a running start towards first base, and he knows that he's got a great chance of beating it. Another infield single for Damon.
2 for 2. Got to keep your eye on him at first. Zobrist bunts it, and it's a good one, but it'll roll into foul ground. So Zobrist hit a 2-run home run in his first at bat. Now he tries to bunt for a base hit. We have seen Joe Madden use the sacrifice and ask his 3-hitter to bunt in the past. They play hit and run, and now they just try to bunt for a base hit. Mentioned their low batting average, hitting in the 230s as a team.
You know, he doesn't have that big thumper right in the middle of the lineup like they had last year, Carlos Pena. A guy who can hit you 30 home runs, so they have to manufacture. Ben Zobrist isn't a guy that you'd say, well, he's a cleanup hitter. But he certainly cleans up against the Blue Jays.
inside off the plate. Ball on a strike. Creeping up on 200. Tampa Bay will leave after this game. They'll go to Minnesota and have an off day before they start their series against the Twins. Bounced on the ground. Escobar will take the bag at second and fire to first for the double play. That's one thing that's been very consistent for the Blue Jays infield, being the ability to rack up the double plays.
Especially when you have an arm like Escobar. That was a seed he threw over to Adam Lind. He plants himself on that bag and then gets out of the way. That gets over there pretty quick.
2 down, Dan Johnson. Johnson had a single to center. Bounce the first pitch. McCoy has it, and Ricky Romero has a 1-2-3 inning. Just 3 up, 3 down. Takes 6 pitches for Romero to dispatch the Rays in the third. Johnny Mack will.
On Rogers Sportsnet, brought to you by your local independently owned Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
That's the TD Comfort Zone, and today enjoying those big comfy chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are McMaster Hospital guests from Hamilton, Ontario. The TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD. And girls all decked out in her Easter clothes. Nice pink outfit today. John McDonald, the third baseman, trying to get something going here against James Shield. Well, Shield's in a good spot all day long. He's been down. He's been on both sides of the plate, and he's had good movement on this fastball.
Yeah, really driving the home plate at the bottom part of the zone.
Took something off and threw a strike. 2-1. Well, you know what you're going to get when you face the Rays. You're going to get a good starting pitcher. 12 times this year their starters have pitched into the 7th. Popped up, fouled ground. Lopez got a late break. He recovers in time to make the catch. Not sure if he saw it coming off the roof. One out here in the third. It is Easter, and they have passed out carnations to our Lady Friend fans coming today. That's a nice little touch. Very good.
And Easter without the Easter Bunny. Where's the Easter Bunny?
Easter Bunny is in the building. Probably hiding some eggs now. Mike McCoy looks at a good fastball right at the knees. McCoy just back from AAA Las Vegas. He was called upon when Jason Nix was disabled. Blue Jays have really had a rash of injuries, and after this game they're going to place Aaron Hill on the DL. And he is already headed to Florida. On the ground, deep it's short. Brignac across the diamond on the money. 2 outs. This infield has really played well. The team hasn't committed. Just 1 error. They've committed 1 error over their last 6.
The only team to not make a multiple error game this year. Brignac pretty much plays shortstop every day for him, but they'll move the third baseman around now that Evan Longoria is out. And the second baseman, they've had 3 or 4 different players play that position. But Brignac very quick to his right and gets rid of it very quickly.
Back to the top of the order. Corey Patterson grounded to first in the first.
Starting pitching and defense will win you a lot of games. You'll figure out how to score runs. But if you pitch it and catch it, you're going to be into a lot of games.
That's a great changeup. Down and in. Not much Patterson could do with it. 0-2. Came right back with it for the strikeout. A 3-pitch strikeout to end a very good 3rd inning. 2-0 Rays. Blue Jays looking for their first hit. Jason Bay has been activated, and they've won all 3 games he's played in. So it's good to see the Canadian healthy again and playing, and got the Mets turned around a bit.
Go deep in last night's game.
Yep. Yeah, they're swinging the bat well.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Come off the DL and commenced to raking.
3 for 3 since he's been back. Hopped up. Bautista calls for it, and P.J. Upton is retired. We will go on the road, and tomorrow it'll be Kyle Drabek returning to his native state of Texas. He'll take on the Rangers. It'll be Drabek against Colby Lewis in the first of 4 games. Kyle Drabek will have family and friends there up from Houston, and we will be here. It all starts at 7:30 p.m. with the pregame show. Join Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
It'll be our first look at the Texas Rangers offense. They lead the American League in hitting. In that ballpark, balls are flying out of that ballpark again.
Michael Young is off to a great start. So much controversy with Young in the offseason about whether or not he was going to be an effective player. That just came from people who didn't know. Felipe Lopez behind Ricky Romero, a ball and 2 strikes. Michael Young hitting .366. At the start of play today, he was 3rd in the American League in hitting. Lopez lays off that pitch down and away. 2-2. Ricky Romero has straightened things out. The changeup bounced foul. Early in the ball game, he was having trouble with his release. Looks like he wasn't extending, and now it looks like it's a totally different Romero.
Yeah, his finish, Zobrist. That was an 0-2 pitch to Ben Zobrist. And you don't give up 0-2 hits, not with the kind of stuff that Romero has. He just missed his spot. Now it looks like he is really driving to home, finishing off his pitches.
JP Arancibia checking the status of his mask after taking one off the bat of Lopez. 2-2, 1 out. And excuse me, foul.
I like the idea that he's using all of his pitches. He can fall into a pattern where he's fastball changeup because he can make the fastball do different things, but he's got a good curveball. We've seen where he throws that for strikes. That's where he piles up a lot of strikeouts.
Right on cue. Lopez took a close pitch. It was a good curveball. You're right, Romero, oftentimes we won't see that till the 5th, 6th inning of a ball game.
Starts breaking that out, and then he becomes very dangerous.
The old money pitch. He polishes off Lopez with a good changeup.
3 strikeouts now this afternoon for Romero, and he's starting to deal at the strike zone. It's in a good spot. Down and away. Watch the arm action. Tells the hitter it's a fastball, but it comes out like a dead fish. Down and away. Really messes up the timing of the hitter.
Sean Rodriguez had the leadoff double in the second. They are aggressive. They're going after that first pitch.
Reading the game notes that they hit 390 on that first pitch.
Ball on a strike to Rodriguez. Takes the fastball upstairs. Again, Ricky Romero slapping his left side. Just as reminders, stay over that mound. Don't jump toward the plate.
He gets excited at times and wants to finish before he stays within himself. Tries to get the ball up there, rush it up there too quick.
He walks Sean Rodriguez with 2 outs. It's a first walk issued by Romero. So with the Rays, you always got to think about a stolen base attempt. Kelly Shopbeck now with 2 outs and Rodriguez at first. Rodriguez was caught stealing Friday night. Jojo Reyes with a pickoff move, and he was breaking for second. They got him in a rundown.
Over 1,300 steal attempts the last 9 years in the big leagues for the Rays. It's what they do.
Well, you mentioned they didn't have the big boppers, the big potent bats in their lineup, and they're going to be prone to running a little bit more this year.
Shopik with some power, and this year hitting .261 against left-handed pitching. He is in a platoon right now with Jaso.
Is that good changeup? Kelly Shopik hurt his knee in a home plate collision last April with Derek Jeter. Had knee surgery. That's why he didn't play as much as they had hoped. And they're hoping that he'll recapture the home run stroke. Hit 20 home runs a couple years ago in Cleveland.
Yeah, that led all AL catchers in home runs in 2008. 21 home runs.
Ball gets away from Arancibia, and Rodriguez will move into scoring position. A wild pitch will be charged to Ricky Romero.
He's got the good changeup, and he's going to get it down in the ground, but Aaron Sebia has the ball go off the heel of his glove, and Rodriguez will move up. We saw Russell Martin the other day for the Yankees put on a clinic on how to block a ball in the dirt.
Romero took too much time for Shopik, and he stepped out. And the breaking ball. This is an ongoing process for Romero and JP Arencibia, learning one another. Everything isn't the same each time you go to the mound, and you can't lean on the same pitches every time. So Arencibia is going to have to learn what Romero can do to get in and out of situations.
And change things up a little bit. I remember talking to Arencibia right at the end of spring training, and I said, what's it like catching Romero? And he says it's really tough because his ball moves all over the place. You have to be on your game, and you really have to think through because he has so many different weapons. But he's got great movement on all of them.
And right now they're having a tough time getting their heads together. 1-2, 2 outs, cut on and missed. Arencibia blocks it. He'll make the throw to first base to retire Kelly Shopik. So the Rays strand another base runner. It's 2-0, middle of the fourth. Escobar, Bautista, and Lynn. Shortstop in the 2 spot. Bautista's red hot, and Lynn's starting to swing it. Now it's time for the Farm Report. We'll look at AAA first, and Brett Lawrie, Eric Thames, and David Cooper off to great starts to their season.
Brett Lawrie, a couple of hits in last night's ball game, hitting up over 400, driving the ball in. We talked about the 6 errors, and we can mention that. Eric Thames is a threat with that bat. David Cooper. You can also start talking about Adam Lowen, who is really starting to swing the bat down at AAA. Starting to drive in some runs. And for them,
we will hear from Alex Anthopoulos, the Senior Vice President, Baseball Operations and General Manager. He will join us in the top of the 5th inning, and we will ask him directly about the progress of some of the minor league prospects. Yunel Escobar bends back from a curveball. You mentioned Brett Lawrie's 6 errors, and we got a first-hand report from Chris Woodward, who was just playing next to Lawrie, shortstop at AAA. Bounce ball, big hop for Brignac. Infield's been busy. But we asked Chris Woodward about Brett Lawrie, and he said, you know, you can discount 2-3 of those errors. He tries to throw on the run too much. John Farrell addressed it in the pregame media scrum, but he thinks he's going to be just fine.
He's a good athlete. It's just like this guy stepping to the plate right here. Jose Bautista is a good athlete. Played some third base in the spring, but has settled in the outfield.
He has reached base in 11 straight plate appearances. He's had 18 walks in 21 games, and he had to expand his zone a little bit. That was probably off the plate inside.
David Price was talking about his at-bats against Price yesterday after the game. It's like anytime I would throw a strike, he'd hit it, and hit it hard. Pitchers definitely pitching him different when guys are on base.
Good change up there. Bautista thought it was low. Mentioned the 18 walks for Bautista in 21 games. He's on pace for 138 walks during the season. Carlos Delgado's club record 123 came in 2000. 123 walks for Delgado. Another changeup. You know, you talk about Price's comments after the game. Pitchers want to pitch to contact, but it's hard to pitch to contact with Bautista because his contact's in another league.
Yeah, he can leave the yard very quickly too. That home run he hit yesterday into the bullpen was a laser to left.
Shields missed badly with that one. And David Price had nothing but compliments to talk about, and you can see he and Jim Hickey are talking about Bautista. So, man, you know, you try to do something different with this guy, but he is locked in. Another bullet right at Felipe Lopez at third.
And that is going to stop his streak a bad way. A C right at the third baseman. By the time you look up, it's already in the glove of Lopez, positioned right on the line. Can't hit a ball any better than that.
Bryce is hollering at Lopez. Put some weights in your pocket. There's a curveball for a strike to Adam Lynn. Lynn struck out back in the first. 2-0 Tampa Bay. A first inning 2-run home run by Ben Zobrist. Then lifts it into center field, up and coming. Makes a running catch, and the Blue Jays go quietly in the fourth. James Shields has retired 10 in a row since his first inning walk of Jose Bautista. Senior Vice President and Baseball GM of the Blue Jays, Alex Anthopoulos. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be on, Buck.
We were looking at the farm report a while ago and looking specifically at AAA and highlighted Brett Lawrie, Eric Thames, and David Cooper. I guess you have to be pleased with their start to the season.
Very pleased. They're all swinging the bats extremely well. You know, they're all hitting 350 or above, I think, 350, 380, 400 or so, and they're off to a great start. And from a defensive standpoint, they're playing well. That's certainly important for us.
We got a first-hand report from Woody Woodward. We talked to Chris and asked him about it. He's playing next to Laurie, and of course the 6 errors jump off the page at you, but
sure.
Give us your take on the errors.
Well, you know what, same thing. I talked to Chris Woodward as well, and I love trying to pick players' brains. I remember when Mark Zipchinski came up last year, I was starting to pick his brain about JP Arancibia and throwing to him and how he looked. And, you know, really the things that we've observed, one, David Cooper just kind of going around the horn.
There's a strikeout to bring you. Go ahead.
He's, you know, he swung the bat extremely well. You know, the walk, we like to look, obviously, at the walks and the strikeouts, and he's driving the ball to the opposite field, and defensively he swung the bat well. Thames in left field swung the bat incredibly well. Last 2 or 3 games hasn't done as well, but defensively he's working on his defense, his base running, and really with Brett, he's hitting 440. Defensively, he's getting a lot better. He's working at it. You know, the one thing for me is, you know, the walk rate's a little bit low, and again, when you're hitting 440, you're not going to walk a whole lot, but the reason that I say that is because it's going to get to a point that he's going to step into the box and everybody on that mound knows what he's hitting, and they're not going to give him anything to hit. And I'd like to see how he's going to react. Is he going to start to strike out more? Is he going to start to let them throw him away, throw him off speed stuff, and take and get to first base and start running a little bit and stealing some bases? But look, he's a 21-year-old kid, thrilled to see the way he's playing, but certainly things he can continue to work on.
As a GM, you don't just look at the raw numbers. You can't do that. You've got to think about the whole ball player, don't you?
No doubt. And, you know, one thing I think more than anything else, we really want to try to get to the point that when these guys get up here, we feel like, one, they have a chance to be everyday players, and secondly, they're here to stay. And, you know, we've had it in the past where you get a little bit caught up in it, and they're up for 2 weeks, they scuffle, you send them back down, and the back and forth and the inconsistency for them, it's not fair to them. So I'd like to see them get through it, have some extended periods of success, let the league adjust to them, see how they make those changes, and if they can continue to do it.
See how they react when they go through a cold spot, because you know it's going to happen. Now, I have to ask you this, Alex. I think you're a pretty bright guy. You signed Chris Woodward. Was that by design to send him down to AAA, maybe help out one of your best prospects?
Yes, actually, it was. And again, it wasn't. If it was that much by design, we would have done it in the off season. But no, what happened was I was talking to our trainer George Poulos in spring training, and he had told me that Chris Woodward was around, and I'd always heard great things about Woody, great teammate, great character guy. And you know, last year the environment in Vegas was not the best for some of our players. We didn't play that well, a lot of uncertainty. So really, when I started talking to George about Woody a little bit more, I said, well, you know what, this sounds like a perfect guy to put into that clubhouse in that environment with all these young kids we have there. You try to get as many good makeup guys, because morally, if you get to that level, it's a lot of disgruntled guys that don't want to be there, and I think Woody was a great fit.
Can you stay another half inning?
Sure.
All right, when we come back, we'll have more on the Blue Jays and some of their young prospects. Tampa Bay leads 2-0. the minor leagues, and let's check out the farm report for AA New Hampshire. Zach Stewart's off to a great start, throwing like he did at the end of last season. Anthony Ghost not really getting it going yet with the bat, but you got to remember, New Hampshire has weather much like Toronto right now, so it's a little cold there in the month of April for these guys to get started with the bat. We are joined in the booth by Alex Anthopoulos, the GM of the Blue Jays. And Alex, we were talking about Brett Lawrie and his development. A lot of people hear the phrase Super 2 in regards to an arbitration status. Can you explain to our listeners what that Super 2 means?
Sure. And, really what it is, it's normally you qualify for salary arbitration after 3 years of service. And there's a clause written into the basic agreement that if you fall slightly shy of those 3 years, so the top 17% of the guys with 2 years of service, so the guys that just missed the cut to get to 3 years, they get to be part of that salary arbitration class. So a lot of talk is made, and look, and I understand, I've certainly seen it written before. Well, we keep players down because of arbitration and Super 2 and all that kind of stuff. And I can tell you there's been a lot of examples that it hasn't been done by this organization. Kyle Drabeck's certainly one of those guys. Travis Snyder is certainly one of those guys as well. I mean, we brought all those guys up. We've had guys become arbitration eligible for, so I'm not concerned with that. It's more about their development. Like Paul Beeston always says, we want to pay these guys. I'd be thrilled that we're in a position that we have to pay these guys and they become that good. And we're talking 6 years down the road where it really can impact the club. And we're not that good to know who's ultimately going to be great and so on. And I do want to get to the point that we feel like guys are ready to go. And I think the kid here at the plate, JP Arencibia, people were calling for him to be up here. And I think the time he spent in the minor leagues, and he'd be the first one to tell you, at the end of 2009, he was upset he didn't get called up and he didn't have a great year. And now at our mini camp, talking to the young players, he said going back down to the minor leagues and being down there the whole year was the best thing that could have happened to him. And I just think that his approach at the plate has been better. Defensively, he's gotten better. And we want to try to get as much of that development away from the big league level as we can and get it done in the minor leagues.
It can be overwhelming when you have to go up against the best in the world every day if you're not prepared.
Certainly. And that's another thing that I think people don't talk about enough is these guys, when they get up here, the fans are talking to them, the media is talking to them. They obviously winning is paramount, and you get into survival mode more than anything else. It's not about, Kyle Drabeck's a great example. If he was up at the beginning of last year, we're trying to win the game. He's not throwing his changeup. He's throwing his curveball and his fastball to try to get out of it, and he doesn't get a chance to keep working on it and developing it. And now allowing him to throw it in New Hampshire, and if the competition's not good enough where they hit a home run or he gives up a home run, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have a microphone in his face. He can continue to work on it, have faith, and now when he comes up here, he knows that he can throw it.
When do you know a player is ready? Is there something that you're zeroing in on and you say, okay, I think he can handle it now?
I think there's a few things, and I don't think you ever know, but one, you're relying on your staff more than anything else, your minor league staff, your player development staff, if you have some scouts that go in and see him mentally. You love to see a player come up when he's hot and when he's locked in, whether it's on the mound or at the plate, he's feeling good about himself. That's what we try to do because you're hoping that momentum carries over to when they get up here, but you're hoping that they've been through, the ups and downs of the minor leagues. They've had the league adjust to them and gone back and forth, and Arencibia last year got to 220 in May, and then he finally got out of it. So Kyle Drabeck the same way got better, and the list goes on and on. So I don't think that in the 2 or 3 week period like we have some of these kids doing well right now, I think it's a little early. If they continue to tear it up through the month of May, I'll be a lot more convinced that they're ready to go.
Back-to-back strikeouts after Revere had the leadoff walk. June's just around the corner. That'll be the annual free agent draft. I know you've been out scouting, and the reports are that this is a very rich, very deep draft. Are you finding it that way?
Yeah, it seems that way. I haven't seen as many players as I did last year. I was out to see more last year, first year with a new scouting director, new staff, but our scouting director, Andrew Tinish, has done a great job. Tony LaCava's out seeing a lot of players. Our AGM, Perry Manassian, our pro scouting director, is also out seeing some players, and I just got back from a trip last night to see some players. So I probably still have another 4 or 5 guys I want to take a look at. I love the draft. I love scouting. I always joke that I probably would enjoy being the scouting director more than a GM. Not that I don't enjoy this, but I love the amateur side and seeing players, and it's an exciting day because we know that each year we're going to get players.
Base hit for John McDonald. Rivera will stop at second. So McDonald comes up with a 2-out hit.
Are you a best player available kind of guy or a need guy?
Completely best player available, and there's been so many examples of that. I remember, obviously, there was a lot of debate about Romero, Troy Tulowitzki at the time. And again, at the end of the day now, with the way Romero's developed, we made a great pick with him. And I think J. Pierre-Chardy and John Long did a great job with him. But I can tell you, at the time when we were trying to debate both players, part of the discussion was, well, we have Aaron Hill, we have Adams, we have depth up the middle, and respectfully, you know, that's probably not the way to go because it's not the NFL, it's not the NBA where these guys come up immediately. So, you know, one other example, one of our cross-checkers at the time, Mike Mangan, told us a story. When he was with the Reds, they had Barry Larkin at shortstop, and they loved Nomar Garciaparra, but because they had Barry Larkin, they said, well, we'll take the high school left-hander Ty Howington, and they passed on Garciaparra. So I think you can never go for position of need because it's just, these guys are just way too far away, and things change so fast.
Mike McCoy in the hole 0-2, and we certainly want to thank you for your time, and I know you've got a busy schedule coming up, but you know, this is an important time. You've got 7 picks in the first 78 slots of the draft, and you had a great draft a year ago, and some of those guys are already starting to show some promise.
No, we're very excited. Our development staff, you know, especially with we drafted so many arms. Dane Johnson runs that program down there, and he does a wonderful job. Deck McGuire's off to a nice start. Had a rough outing last night. Aaron Sanchez is up to 95, 96 miles an hour. Noah Syndergaard's sitting at 96. And these are kids that just turned 18. So we're very excited about this group, and hopefully add in a bunch more talent in the first 2 rounds, and maybe even a year from now we get to add some more picks as well.
Alex, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your Easter Sunday.
All right, guys, really enjoyed it.
All right. Mike McCoy strikes out. The Blue Jays strand a pair of runners. James Shields has had their number, but they finally got to him for a couple of hits. Ricky Romero trails by 2. Came in the first inning off the bat of Ben Zobrist. He hit a 2-run home run off of Ricky Romero with 1 out in the first. And nobody has scored since. His second home run in as many games. First pitch changeup. Romero has really hit stride here in the middle innings.
He certainly has. He's locked into that strike zone. He is keeping it down, and right now he's using all of his pitches.
He made a great point earlier in the ballgame how Romero is so good with his fastball and changeup. Sometimes he will forget about the cutter and the good curveball. I think a left-hander with a curveball can really compound situations for hitters. And John Lester comes to mind. He's got that cutter, but boy, when he throws that curveball and mixes it in, he really becomes nasty.
That just gives you something more to think about, something to look for. And when you have those kind of weapons, if you don't fall into a pattern, meaning, okay, 1-0, I'm always going to throw a fastball, 2-1, I'm always going to throw a changeup, whatever. If you don't follow into those patterns, it makes it tough on these hitters.
and just changing the speeds. And you talked about going front to back with fastballs. You can go front to back on velocity. You can do that with breaking balls as well. Gives you that many more dimensions. 2-0 ball game. James Shields, Ricky Romero have locked horns here. Full count. Cut on and missed. Another strikeout for Romero. He's got 7 now. Fans, Blue Jays are going to go across Canada and hold their super camps, the instructional camps presented by Baseball Canada, Honda Super Camps, and they'll be in Halifax, Nova Scotia, July 18th, 19th, and 20th. You can be part of the #1 camp in Canada. It'll be at Beasley Park, and the instructors will include Homer Bush, Denny Boucher, Rance Mulliniks, Dwayne Ward. You can get more information when you log on to BlueJays.com/camps. The Blue Jays are a proud sponsor of amateur sports across Canada. Ball and a strike to the cleanup hitter, Dan Johnson. He has one of the 5 hits Romero has allowed. Bouncing ball, big hop for McCoy. It was good to catch up with Alex Anthopoulos. I thought the interesting thing, and it's not really something that's that easily figured out, but he explained the Super 2, and he denied the reports and the suggestion that they were holding Laurie down to keep his arbitration eligibility down. He said that's not the case. And Kyle Drabeck, Travis Snyder, a couple guys that were promoted without concerns.
One of the biggest mistakes I think you can make is start worrying about development and how much they're going to cost you. You can come up here and not do anything, and that doesn't mean anything. The important thing, and I think the most important thing he said, is they will come up here when they are ready, so they don't go back.
Yeah, that's a great point. You don't want them going back and forth. And Travis Snyder's had some rough spots in his major league career. Maybe there was an opportunity for him to stay down longer. Think back to Mattingly and Boggs and guys like that just went one level at a time, and they'd get 500 at bats in each level, and then they were ready when they got to the big leagues and never went back.
Those are Hall of Famers,
yeah.
But they earned it and they were ready. They weren't overwhelmed when they got to the big leagues.
Just because they had so many reps. Repetition. You want to be able to handle everything, do it all the time. Adam Lynn's getting his reps at first base here in the big leagues, and so far so good. He's done a good job at first.
He certainly has.
2-2 to Upton. Strike 3 called. Upton let that previous strike call affect him. He couldn't pull the trigger on the Romero fastball. Ricky Romero has punched out 8 here. Now the Blue Jays got to figure out James Shields. Hitters in the top 10 in home runs in the American League. Granderson, Russell Martin, Teixeira, and Posada all have 6. And now Granderson has tied Bautista. Ball is popped back behind the screen.
36 home runs now for the Yankees. Wow, they're just running away with that. Look like the Blue Jays from last year.
Jose Bautista having a conversation with Dwayne Murphy. I'm sure they're discussing James Shields and whether or not he's picked up any patterns. Corey Patterson, fair ball just inside the line. That'll go down the right field line. Zobrist gets it, throws to second. Safe at second base is Patterson.
Ben Zobrist made this play in right field very close. He has never committed an error in over 200 games as an outfielder. He can play the infield also, and Patterson with great speed sends a rocket by Johnson down the right field line, but Zobrist got over there very quickly. Patterson knows he's got to hustle, and with a head-first dive just ahead of the throw, a good start here for the Blue Jays in the 6th.
Third double of the season. Now the Blue Jays have to do something with the leadoff double here in the 6th. Ricky Romero has slammed the door on Tampa Bay. Breaking ball. And here's a situation we talk about all the time. If you want to protect Jose Bautista and give him some pitches to hit, you got to get on ahead of him. Not so much the guy behind him. He's not going to change the way you pitch. But if you got guys on base, you have to pitch to Bautista.
7 of his home runs, or out of 7 of his home runs, 6 of them are solo home runs. So they're challenging him with nobody on. Escobar's got to get himself on somehow right here.
Even with Patterson at second, Bautista representing the tying run, it would be difficult to just give him a free pass. But he's so hot right now, Joe Maddon might think of it.
Wouldn't surprise me. And that's something that you don't see a whole lot of. Right-hander walking a right-hander to get to a left-hander.
Breaking ball. Patterson will get back to second, and Escobar is thrown out. Well, in this situation with Patterson at second base, Bautista will come to the plate. The hitter behind Bautista owns James Shields. Adam Lind has 5 home runs against Shields.
And you know they have that number also. Never want to put the tying run on base. It's early. Still just a 6th inning. But I bet you they're going to be very careful with them.
Bautista had his streak of reaching base stopped last time. He lined a line drive right to the glove of the third baseman.
Shields was the starter last August when the Blue Jays scored 17 runs against the Rays. He gave up 6 home runs in 4 innings, which tied a big league record, J.P. Arancibia's first game.
Ball on the strike to Bautista.
So he has made his adjustments here. He's been pitching like the Shields we saw from a couple of years ago.
Changeup. Not really too anxious to give him anything hard. And the home runs have been a problem since 2007. James Shields has given up more home runs than anybody in the American League. Jeremy Guthrie is just 8 behind. Santana gives up the homers. A.J. Burnett and John Banks.
Look at the defense now that Joe Maddon has thrown out there with Bautista at the plate.
He's got 3 infielders on the left side of the infield. We haven't seen this before with Bautista.
Not with a right-handed batter. They are either going to pitch him way in or throw him a lot of soft stuff with that defense.
Another breaking ball has been all soft stuff. Curveballs and changeups throughout the entire at bat, and the count is full. Joe Maddon looks at a lot of information. He and Hickey are talking about it, and you can bet they're talking right now. We're going to balk him, but Lind has hit Shields well. Shields won't give in to Bautista. Now Bautista arguing he made contact with the catcher. Mike Everett said nope, and he chases a pitch well off the plate.
It was soft stuff. It looked like a changeup. I don't think he saw one fastball in that whole sequence. You can tell right here. Bautista arguing that he fouled that ball off. But he still caught it.
Yeah, it didn't make any difference.
Didn't make any difference, sure.
Just trying to get some sort of reaction from the umpire, and Mike Everett wouldn't bite. Big strikeout for Shields. He threw everything soft to Bautista, ends up with the strikeout.
Time to file that away. That at bat right there as they get a big hitter, hot hitter.
First pitch changeup, and Lynn pops out to the center fielder. So the Blue Jays can't do anything with their leadoff double here in the sixth. James Shields made some tough pitches. On Rogers Sportsnet, your source for all the news and information leading up to UFC 129 Saturday. It all starts with UFC Connected, featuring an in-depth look at Georges St-Pierre. That's Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then it's the press conference on Wednesday, the weigh-in Friday, and live coverage of preliminary bouts leading up to the pay-per-view event Saturday night. UFC 129. Felipe Lopez, a ball on the strike. Blue Jays had a great opportunity to break through against James Shields. Corey Patterson had the leadoff double. Ricky Romero really settled down. Gave up 2 runs and 3 hits in the first inning and been awfully stingy since.
Yeah, gave up an infield single in the 3rd inning, but that was taken care of by the double play. He walked a batter in the 4th, Wild pitched in the 2nd, but settled down and struck out the last batter he faced in that inning. Really, the last ball that was hit hard was Sean Rodriguez back in the 2nd inning.
2-2. Now it's 3-2. This will be interesting to see if they could back up another fastball, and Lopez probably sitting on changeup here. Full count. He threw it anyway. Another changeup, and Romero had that one disappear. 9 strikeouts now.
It's the one he used to strike out Lopez back in the 4th inning when it was 3-2. You see the grip right there. That's a circle change. You dig it back into the hand, you throw it like a fastball, and it just disappears.
One out, Sean Rodriguez. You mentioned Rodriguez hit the double back in the 2nd inning. It was a line drive to the base of the wall in right. Hot shot right to 3rd base. John McDonald retires Sean Rodriguez. At bat 2011. Your Blue Jay app. Gear up for the 2011 season with At Bat for your BlackBerry, iPad, or iPhone. listen to live radio broadcasts, and receive batter-by-batter information for every game. At Bat 2011 allows you to customize the app to receive Blue Jays specific news and alerts. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. 2 down, top of the 7th. I mentioned the Blue Jays starting to turn things around from the mound. Jojo Reyes on Friday night, 7 innings. Brandon Moore was limited by a pitch count. He went 5 1/3, struck out 10 yesterday. Shopik pulls it foul.
Romero doing the same here. He's only given up 5 hits and 2 runs. Really just the one mistake, the home run.
And the home run itself wasn't a mistake. It was the pitch. It was an 0-2 pitch trying to get it off the plate and left it out over the plate. 99 pitches. Curveball missed.
You know, that's where it starts. John Farrell was talking about he hasn't had his full lineup since opening day. I disagree with that. Brandon Morrow wasn't here. You saw what he could do, Brandon Morrow, for this pitching staff. It just finishes it. You've got a couple of hard-thrown right-handers, a couple of hard-thrown left-handers. You're always in the game when you get great starting pitching.
Popped back over the Rays dugout. Oh, I agree with you 100%. You go out there and have your starter throw up some zeros. Hitters get encouraged they can win the game. Starting to stir down in the Blue Jays bullpen. Looks like Mark Zepchinski has grabbed his glove. He'll start to loosen up. Jason Frazier loosening up as well. Let's see how that develops. Cut on and miss. Ricky Romero is dealing. You talk about having Brandon Morrow back, encourages the strikeout. Morrow had 10 yesterday. Romero has 10 here this afternoon. 2-0 Tampa Bay leads it. In this ball game,
Ben Zobrist has always had big games against the Blue Jays. He does it again in the first inning. 0-2 pitch hit into the seats in left field. And right now, James Shields is trying to make that stand up as the Rays go through some defensive changes here in the 7th inning.
Ben Zobrist comes in to second base from right field. And then Sean Rodriguez moves from second to third, takes over for Felipe Lopez. Casey Kochman comes on defensively. He's a wizard with the glove at first base. So in this 2-0 game, the defense is a priority for Joe Madden. And the final piece to the puzzle is Matt Joyce in right. This team has played great defense. There's Sean Rodriguez over at third. He moved from second to third. They've committed just 1 error in their last 6 games. So Lopez is out of the game, and Joyce takes his spot in the lineup. Rivera bounces it to third. Rodriguez tested quickly on the money. Rivera's retired.
And that's why you put your best defensive team on the field the last couple of innings of a ball game for a play just like that. Juan Rivera is robbed of extra bases. The quickness of Rodriguez, and he gloves that. That's a tough in-between hop off the dirt. Picks up that overspin, but he makes it look simple and then throws a strike to first.
It's like you have a 27-man roster with Zobrist and Rodriguez on your team. Again, nasty hop right on the seam of the dirt, right on the money. 2 quick outs here in the 7th. But when you have Rodriguez on your team, he can play anywhere on the infield or in the outfield. Ben Zobrist is, you mentioned, a terrific right fielder. But Matt never hesitates to put him anywhere on the field, and he's good at second as well. We saw him yesterday range far to his right.
Zobrist has started 5 different positions. Sean Rodriguez has started games at 7 different positions.
An expanded roster because of their versatility. Lots of offers in the Blue Jays lineup today. Shields has held them to 3 hits. There's that breaking ball. Shields last time out against the White Sox went 9 innings and held Chicago to 4 hits. Gave up a single run. Walked 1 and struck out 9. It's like a carbon copy of that game. Right at the bottom of the strike zone. That big overhand curveball.
Not afraid to throw it any time. One of the things that he's been so good against, left-handed hitting. Left-handers just hitting over 200 against Shields because he has those weapons.
There's a base hit into center field. Snyder comes through with a 2-out base hit.
Tried to slip a cutter by him with 2 strikes. That's how he got him in the first inning. First time Bob tried to throw a fastball by him.
And you can see Shields was upset with the pitch selection because he had handled Snyder so effectively with curveballs and changeups. Trying to sneak that fastball by him. John McDonald had a hit his last time up. In case you've just joined us, Jason Nix was placed on a disabled list yesterday. Aaron Hill will be placed on a disabled list after this game. But they're hopeful that Hill will be able to rejoin the team and be activated when the Blue Jays are in St. Petersburg to play the Rays. Teams are starting to shy away from first pitch fastballs to John McDonald.
Yeah, you saw that big time the other night with the home run. Price pitched him a little bit differently also. Shields has been in command. His ability to throw strikes, hit a lot of ground ball outs.
Line to Rodriguez. So Joe Madden looks like a genius. Switches up the defense, puts Rodriguez at third, and he makes all 3 outs. Blue Jays strand a run. They've managed just 4 hits on James Sheet. Toyota, the #1 selling passenger car brand in Canada. New pitcher for the Blue Jays will be Mark Zepchinski. The left-hander was the winner on Friday night, retired the only batter he faced, and picked up the W when the Blue Jays won it.
3 lefties in a row coming up for the Tampa Bay Rays. Zepchinski has been tough on lefties. Look at that whip, 0.89. He's only given up 1 hit to a left-handed batter this year. Doing his thing, this is his 10th game of the season. ERA is a little high. That was just one really bad outing that he had. So he'll follow Ricky Romero to the mound this afternoon. What a job Romero did.
10 strikeouts here this afternoon. 3rd time in his career he's recorded 10 strikeouts or more in a game. His career high is 12.
He got stronger and stronger as the game went along.
Reed Brignac, the first of 3 left-handed hitters in a row, takes a wild hack. And the 4th batter is Ben Zobrist, who Mark Zepchinski has owned. That's a good stretch for Zepchinski. And the breaking ball tapped in front of the mound. Wow. Didn't need to be that interesting. Zepchinski almost threw it right past Adam Lynn. But he got the out.
He got the out against the left-hander.
Stay tuned. Coming up, a connected update with Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn from the brand new BlackBerry broadcast studio here at Rogers Center. Sam Folds had a rough night. They finally figured out how to get him out. Rough afternoon with 3 strikeouts. Coming into this game, he was 4 for 8 in the series. But they've gone soft.
Yeah. Okay, we know you can hit the fastball. Let's see if you can hit the breaking ball.
And he bunts it, but it bounces foul. Yeah, it doesn't take long to switch gears. You see him jump on that high fastball and hit the ball all over the ballpark. You're going to make changes. Okay, we believe you, Sam. We know you can hit. So now he's going to have to battle. Word's going to get around quickly. He's off to such a great start.
There it is.
Wicked breaking ball.
Yeah, very nasty. 4 times now. Folds going down on strikeouts. Zepchinski hides the ball well. This is why he is tough on lefties. He'll throw that breaking ball at any time. That time it looked like it was going to hit the outside part of the plate. From a strike to a ball. Right on the outside part of the plate and then gone.
Johnny Damon fouls it off. Damon is 1 for 3 against Zepchinski's. Been swinging a hot bat. He extended his personal hit streak to 13 games in the first. Bounces short. In time, what an inning for Mark Zepchinski. A 1-2-3 8th inning. Now it's time for a connected update with Jamie and Greg from the BlackBerry broadcast studio here at the Rogers Center. tomorrow, Kyle Drabek will take the mound in Arlington to take on the Texas Rangers. That'll be the first of 4 games, and we'll be there. Drabek will make his first start in his home state of Texas, and a chance for him to pitch in front of the family and friends. Tomorrow the action begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and that'll be the pregame show. We'll follow that right around 8 o'clock. Jays on Sportsnet, Blue Jays and Rangers. Chris Woodward swings at Mike McCoy swings at the first pitch and pops it up.
Shields hasn't been afraid to throw first pitch fastball. Jays just have not been able to square him up. He has been down all afternoon. And when he's down, he'll get more ground ball outs than fly ball.
Corey Patterson solved him for a leadoff double in the 6th, but he wouldn't move up. Shields did a good job with the next 3 batters, including a strikeout of Jose Bautista. It doesn't take much in a 2-run game. A bloop and a blast will do it. One out. Shields gave up just 1 run his last time out. Another curveball.
Yeah, he did that on 105 pitches, that complete game. This afternoon, that last pitch to Corey Patterson was just number 80.
Incredibly efficient. It's a different James Shields. This is the Shields we saw a couple years ago. The ability to throw all of his pitches in the zone and make quality pitches. Changeup is pulled foul. Shields used his changeup in the past like a breaking ball. He'd throw maybe 40% changeup. Jim Hickey continues to encourage all of his starters to mix all 4 pitches. This is popped up on the infield. Reed Brignac. 2 outs.
Won 14 games for Tampa a couple years ago. In 33 starts, you can always count on him. He's reliable, a lot of innings, and go deep into the game. Just 29 years old. It seems like he's been around a lot longer than that. He is the oldest pitcher of their starters. Pretty impressive.
Shields is 29, Neiman's 28, Price is 25, Wade Davis is 25, and Jeremy Hellickson, who pitched so well here on Friday nights, just 24. And breaking ball. Looked like Escobar was anticipating something down and away, just hung out a little bit too long. Another breaking ball. We mentioned the Rays have gone 646 games without a starting pitcher over 30. Excuse me, that's incorrect. 625. 625 games without a starter going to the mound over 30 years old. James Shields has got plenty in the tank. Just 8 pitches in the 8th inning. He's looking for his 2nd complete game of the year. Rogers. Hello, Speed Boost. Goodbye, waiting. Another first only from Rogers.
A couple of years ago, Ben Zobrist hit 27 home runs and drove in 91 runs for the Rays. He's doing it again. Some injuries last year set him back when he only hit 10, but now he's got 5 home runs when he took Romero deep at the first inning. 5 home runs already in the month of April. He had a 3-run home run in yesterday's game and a 2-run home run today. Frank Francisco is going to take over, get some work in. This will be his second game of the season. First pitch he threw this year was hit out for a home run, so he needs some work. Following up a great job by Romero and Mark Zepchinski.
Well, David Price was too much for the Blue Jays yesterday, and so far James Shields has won up, shutting out the Blue Jays on just 4 hits. Frank Francisco, he'll face his former team, the Texas Rangers, in that 4-game series that begins tomorrow night. Another aspect of the team, you talked about the team having been incomplete and still remains so, but Francisco, along with Brandon Morrow, started out the season on a disabled list.
Just his second game of the year, he was activated off the disabled list just in this series.
Continues to heat up with the bat. Folks, you can get all your information about the hockey playoffs on Hockey Central Playoff Edition. The Rangers and Coyotes have been eliminated, so the playoffs are down to 14 teams in the hunt for the Stanley Cup. Keep up to date with all the news and storylines. Hockey Central, the Playoff Edition. Weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. Zobrist is aboard for Matt Joyce. Came on defensively in the 7th inning. Joyce was 0 for 3 as a starter in yesterday's game. He walked and scored on Zobrist's 3-run home run. Francisco throws hard. He'll be in the low 90s. Got a good breaking ball, pretty good split finger pitch.
That split finger really helps neutralize some of the left-handers in his career. He's got good numbers against lefties.
Francisco didn't pitch much in the spring. He had a pectoral muscle problem and took him a while. Once they shut him down, he was down so long they had to rebuild his arm strength and get him game ready. Foul back. It's a good fastball, 93 miles an hour, and Joyce was late. Fouled off the mask of Aaron Sebia.
Joyce has some power. When they got him from the Detroit Tigers for Edwin Jackson, they envisioned him being a platoon player in the outfield, getting most of the at-bats. But he has been battling some injuries over the last couple of years. 12 home runs for the Tigers in a very short period of time. Got a natural home run swing.
He's got 216 at bats a year ago and hit 10 home runs. Pretty good production. I'd like to see him get more regular playing time. There goes Zobrist. Aaron Sebia's throw to second is late. Zobrist got a good jump. He is 3 for 3 in steals. On the pitch, Matt Joyce is called out.
Staying back and waiting for that, and then trying to throw from his knees. There's no chance to get Ben Zobrist, who steals it. Keep him out of the double play, get another runner in scoring position.
B.J. Upton was caught looking the last time up. Took a fastball from Ricky Romero. That ended the 6th. Way outside. Romero struck out 10. Zepchinski struck out 1 in his inning of work, and now Francisco has a strikeout. Broken bat, 1 hopper. McDonald chases Zobrist back to second. He tires Upton. 2 down.
First baseman, number 11, Casey Kotchner.
Mentioned the strikeouts. Romero struck out 10. Tampa Bay has a promotion when they play in home games. If any starter strikes out 10 in a game, everybody in the house gets pizza. When Ozzie Guillen's White Sox were there, he said these people are going to have enough pizza for the whole week with my team. He said they should put us on retainer.
That's a good hitting team, you know.
They strike out a lot.
Yeah, they strike out a ton.
And they're not hitting much at all right now. Adam Dunn is really scuffling since he came back from his appendectomy.
Remember the first 10 days or so of the season?
Scored runs in bunches. Yep.
7 or 8 a game.
2 outs. Casey Kotchman also came in defensively in that 7th inning when Joe Madden revamped the entire defense practically. Played in 11 games. He was sent to the minor league start season, called up, and see Joe Madden contemplating what might happen in the bottom of the inning, trying to protect a 2-0 lead. James Shields' pitch count is well in order. No reason for him not to go back out for the night.
Yeah, right now, Joe Madden and Dave Martinez trying to figure out how to get that run in. Blue Jays have had the tying run to the plate the last couple of innings against Shields, where a long one would tie it up.
Casey Kotchman started in the game yesterday. Ended up 1 for 4. 2-0 ball game, the top of the 9th inning. James Shields, Ricky Romero, the starters in this game. Shields is still in for Tampa. There's that splitter, bounce to first. Easy play for Adam Lynn. So Francisco has a good inning of work after giving up the leadoff single. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay. Shields going back for the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Bautista, Lynn, and Rivera. Heart of the order need to make up the 2-run deficit. set to pitch the ninth. It has been all about Shields today. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts through 8 innings on just 85 pitches. The Blue Jays have been able to muster just 4 hits against the Rays right-hander.
He's challenged him. There's Shields' numbers. He did have back-to-back complete game shutouts at home back in 2008. Did that against Boston. And he did it against the Los Angeles Angels. Became the 6th pitcher since 1998 to throw 2 shutouts, allowing 2 hits or less in 1 season. Pretty impressive stuff. This looks like the Shields that we saw back in 2008.
Curveball. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. Shields, complete game last time. Looking for another CG here this afternoon. He has 6 complete games in his big league career.
He hasn't had a complete game this year, except for his last start since 2008.
Bautista with a big rip. Finally got a fastball. Fouled it back.
Soft, soft, soft. That's what we've seen from James Shields to Jose Bautista as Adam Lynn looks on.
Three and 2. Bautista has hit 2 home runs against Shields. Lind on deck has hit 5 home runs against Shields. 3-2 pitch. He walked it. The tying run will come to the plate.
That's why that run was important for the Rays in the top of the inning. You get one guy on. You mentioned the home runs that Lind has hit in his career against Shields. And he will represent the tying run.
Blue Jays scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th on Tuesday against Mariano Rivera to tie the score at 5-all. They would eventually win that game. Adam Lynn out in front of that off-speed pitch. He's 0 for 3. Manager in a situation like this just has to let James Shield determine his own fate here. He's been that good. Quick snap throw. Bautista was almost picked off.
Caught him in a step towards second base. With the high tag by Kochman right on the elbow.
Well, he's giving him a steady diet of off-speed pitches as well. A lot of at-bats now with 3 today. Lynn has 35 at-bats against James Shields. And Shields looked like he's ripped up his previous scouting report on Lynn.
That one didn't work.
A little blooper into left field. Folds coming in. Lind is retired.
But what has worked today for him is that good changeup and good breaking ball. And they're in good spots, too. It's down. That last pitch to Adam Lynn was a very tough 2-strike pitch.
Juan Rivera has a single in 3 at-bats. He has hit the ball hard all afternoon off of Shields, and he's hit him well for his career. He's now 8 for 18 against Shields. Perfect time for his first home run against the right-hander. Bautista's picked up. Oh my. That takes away the opportunity for Rivera to tie it up with 1 swing of the bat. Shields with his second quick move. This time he gets Bautista.
This time right on the bag. Looked like he waited for Jose to take that one last step to get out onto that carpet and then spun quickly.
Popped up. This should do it. Kelly Shopik in fair territory makes the catch. James Shields has just shut out the Blue Jays on 4 hits. Back-to-back complete games, and Big Game James is back.
He certainly is. In command all afternoon. He did it throwing under 100 pitches also. Took him just 95 pitches. Ben Zobrist hit in the first inning. He makes that one stand up.
2-0. The Rays win the series 2-1. The Blue Jays will go on the road and play a 10-game road trip. Now it's time for Jamie Campbell and Greg Son. They'll break it all down coming up next.